What's up guys, Steven Dax here. So today we're going to talk about 230,000 winning on last Friday. I do get a lot of questions from you guys. Hey Steven, what ticker did you trade? There's overall about 30 to 40 tickers that happened last week. I'm only going to select a few tickers that really stands out and I made the majority of the money from. Before I get into this video, make sure to click the like button and subscribe. Today we're going to go over 3 points: volume, fundamental analysis, and technical analysis. So on the volume section, we talked about how to really use pre-market volume to estimate entire day volume and how to really use volume ratios. So all those volume tricks I'm not going to talk about today. Today we're going to mainly focus on fundamentals and technical analysis. Fundamentals, there's a lot of stuff going into it, but for majority in small cap industry, we usually look for 424B, then 10Q, and we majority look for warrants, offering, and at the market. These type of files that we majority look for in SEC filings. Technical analysis will be gap up short, bounce short, overstand gap down, and more patterns. So what we know is fundamental and technical analysis, they have a time gap between, and usually it takes about 6 months to a year, sometimes even more, for fundamental to really place in. Let me give you an example. Let's say a stock went from 1 to 10, they gain 1,000%, but the fundamental itself is really bad. We have about 100 million shelf, let's assume 100 million at the market, and the volume is trading about 500 million to 700 million. At that time gap, these type of fundamental analysis doesn't really matter because volume is basically overwhelming the fundamental at that time period. Now, after about 6 months, all these fundamentals are going to kick in and stock is going to go back where it came from. So within these type of small time zones, that will create massive risk reward. And that will be the time you should take advantage of. So here will be examples that we're looking at HTZ, which is the Hertz rental company. And the stock basically went from 70 cents to almost $7 in about 3 days. We already know that the stock already filed bankruptcy, so fundamental itself is going to eventually go to zero, just a matter of time. But in that time period, it went from almost 0 to 7, which is 700% gain in about 3 days. So these type of patterns will gain so much reward to grow your small account. So let's get into intraday charts. Now, when I look at the stock, first time it gapped up, it went from 1 to 4, so it gapped about 200 to 300%. First of all, as I said in the last video, when we're looking at about long or short stock, we want to look at market cap and flow at the same time. This is not a usual small cap that we typically trade off. The market cap is around 270 million. The flow is definitely way out of normal range. It's 86 million. In terms of pushing percentages as a gap up short, it doesn't really fit the criteria. So I don't really know where is the max reward and where is the maximum push. So on this day, I kind of set off because you traded way too much volume in the pre-market. And overall volume estimate is going to surpass 100, 200 million. When the volume gets to that point, there is a lot of irrational people trying to dip buy. It will just create more competitive situations in that day. So then follow next day, the stock breaks that $4 area. You gain another 500 million volume on that specific intraday. With that gap down, you trapped a lot of backholders trying to buy around $5 area. So this is where I step in because first of all, the fundamental is really bad and they already announced bankruptcy twice. By using overstand gap down from shorting around $5, I covered around close to $4-ish. So overall shares will be 55K. I made about 50,000 specifically on this ticker. I did not choose to swing because there is a massive support around $3 area. In terms of going swing and for a long term, this definitely have a really good risk reward in terms of holding it for about a month or two. Personally, there's so many opportunities for the last 2 weeks and I don't really care about if it fades a little bit more because I can get much more reward on other tickers that's spiking even higher, 5,000% to 7,000%. So once the massive run forms, you will get about 1 or 2 bounces. The first bounce came in around June 12th. I shorted around $3 area, covered around 260. Because first of all, the range is really tight. overall gap is from 2 to 3.5. So that's about 50% gain. For a 300 million market cap stock, it's okay, but it's not great. And I showed it into this push, risking the pre-market high, 3.3-ish, covered around right before this neutralized area, which is around 230-ish. So gained about 40K trading hertz. It should produce another bounce or two, and once the fundamental really kicks in, the stock will go straight to zero. So that will be the overall psychology behind how to really trade a mass amount of volume. It's not really a multi-day runner because multi-day runner needs to be over 3 days on a consistent run. But for hertz, we only ran for 2 days and traded about mass amount of volume. When you see a mass amount of volume has been trading for about a day or two that exceed the maximum volume you typically see in daily basis, that's where you should wait for 1 or 2 days and wait for these type of moves to gain about 50% in terms of reward. And so first entry for me will be 550 to 4. That will be about 22-23% gain on my original position. 3 to 2.5 will be another 20%-ish. So around 45% reward overall. That's really good pattern to trade, and you don't have to worry about trading into a massive amount of volume, give you headaches, trying to dip buy into panics, and how to really judge if it's a real breakout or a fake out. Alright guys, that will be all of the analysis today. I know there's a lot of tickers I didn't talk about, but I will get into these later. I traded way too many tickers and there's way too many opportunities. So make sure, be patient, wait for pattern to appear, then go for your trades. That'll be it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.